What's going on, everybody? Going live right now. I always get these questions in Discord literally the minute that we're going live, so it's always a little bit tricky for me to handle those. We got a big slate, but I'm going to try and make it a little bit smaller. Personally, I'm not playing a ton of lineups today, but I do have a decent amount, and I'm going to be heavily on the Lakers-Brooklyn game. I don't think that's anything shocking, especially now we have no Ben Simmons, which just makes me like Kyrie even better. And I think that you're getting too low ownership on guys like Schroeder. I think that, Rui, Bryant, Westbrook with Kyrie on the other side is going to be my sort of core for today, in addition to the fact that my core that I posted is pretty much the same one I'm still using. If there's any spend up outside of the guard position, because I really like the point guards and centers today, but the one guy I'm spending up for in that you can use in the forward spot is Anthony Edwards, and I think that he's my second favorite spend up to Kyrie outside of unless you can get all the way up to Luka, which I think we have the value to possibly do. So fire on your questions. Those of you who are members of the site, you can go check out my core plays; they're still there. I do feel very nervous about the Aaron Wiggins thing in general, just because he's so ineffective. And, but we do have Bates Diop we could use instead now, who's probably going to start. You also have the Isaiah Joe play, which is not as it's the median score is going to be much lower there, but you're going to have plenty of upside to have a ceiling type of performance from a guy like that, just with the way that he plays. And they're giving him enough run to where he's going to have that opportunity. So that's my take on the value of the guys I'm using. The ones I'm highest on are Rui and Wiggins. Don't feel amazing about them. I also like Precious and Thomas Bryant, both center only eligible. It's a very strong center position today, in my opinion. So that's just something to keep in mind. Anyway, so that's where we're at for right now. It's really not a whole lot different than this morning. The guys that I'm maybe I'm looking at the ownership right now. I'll say above and below. I'll be above on Hachimura. I'll be above on Thomas Bryant. Probably actually near the field on Thomas Bryant. I'm still nervous about Thomas Bryant losing minutes to Gabriel and stuff here. Like, they've been playing Gabriel more when Davis was out. So I'm not 100% sold that Thomas Bryant is going to get the 28 minutes that he's being projected for, but I do still like him quite a bit. Other plays that I'm going to be above and below on. Wiggins, right now, I'm probably going to be near the field. I do like Anthony Simons, but I would rather use the forward spot of Jeremy Grant, who I like a little bit better. But I like Simons and Grant. Those of you guys saw my early build, they were both in my early build. Westbrook, I'll be over the field. Anthony Edwards, I'll be over the field. Harrison Barnes, I'll be below the field. Klay Thompson, I'll be below the field. Seth Curry, I'll be below the field. Josh Richardson, I'll be below the field. Precious, I'll be above the field. Alec Burks, I'll be right near the field. Dorian Finney-Smith, I'll be below the field. Bates Diop, I'll probably be right with the field. Kyrie, I'll be above the field. I'm just going through the highest owned players in order. Kevin Huerter, I'll be below the field. D'Angelo Russell, I'll be above the field. Luka, I'll be above the field. Giddey, I'll be probably right near the field, around 10-15%. Jeremy Grant, as I mentioned, I'll be above the field. Probably be a little bit below on Draymond, although I actually do kind of like him tonight. Just didn't quite find him in many of my builds. I like Claxton. It does feel like a lot to pay for him, but I do think he has a ceiling against this Lakers team. So I'm still deciding what to do there. Still deciding what to do with Harden. Probably not, as of right now, not really playing him much, but I certainly can't argue with it against Orlando. Kuzma, I'll be below the field. Shea, I'll probably be a little bit below the field. And Schroeder, I'll be way above the field. Those are sort of everybody in the double-digit ownership that's showing up for me. I also do like Sohan. I still like Avdia a little bit. And I also like Rudy Gobert as other guys I'm using. So that's a quick rundown of the guys who I'm planning on playing tonight. As far as game stacks go, I like the Lakers, Brooklyn. I think you can make an argument for Sacramento, Minnesota, even though the individual plays outside of Edwards and Gobert don't stand out. Russell, too, a little bit. OKC, Golden State, I think you could make certainly an argument for stacking that game. And those would be my favorite ones. I think Atlanta, Portland, you'd have to make some maybe uncomfortable plays, but I do kind of like that game stack. And in my early build, I did put Clint Capella in there because I just think no one's going to play him. And I think that I do like him in this matchup. So that's just another one I want to throw there. Who do I like from Brooklyn for a rundown? Kyrie. That's my number one from Brooklyn. I'm just taking a quick look. Looks like it's hockey news. No one cares. From Brooklyn, I like Kyrie. I think Kyrie and Claxton are the most logical. I'm sort of having a hard time with the Royce O'Neal thing. Like, I like him in this kind of a matchup, but the fact that he's getting any ownership at all just feels kind of funny to me. A guy who doesn't really have a monster ceiling, so I'm probably going to look elsewhere and play the guys with a little more upside at that price range. And while Curry looks good, I don't think this is some sort of like just automatic lock that Seth Curry is going to go nuts. I think you can mix in some Joe Harris. I think you can mix in some Royce, which I mentioned. I do think Kyrie is the best one. And then large field, I think that you could play some Watanabe or some Joe Harris. Or some Cam Thomas, but that would be very large field stuff for the runbacks. Chris Paul, I think, is totally fine. It's a horrible matchup, the nut low matchup. If point guards against Toronto, and as I mentioned all the time, point guards against Toronto and Miami are like the nut low. I like Cam Johnson in that game, and I like Chris Paul just fine. I'm just not getting to him in my builds. I'd much rather play Westbrook personally. And the guy who, for some reason, no one is going to play DeAndre Ayton, and I think Ayton is a reasonable play. I don't see Ayton and Chris Paul as being very different plays. And there's a really strong point guard position. There is a strong center position, but not as strong as point guard, in my opinion. And Ayton is going to be 0% owned, and Chris Paul is going to be like probably around, 12, 15% owned. It's my guess. If Trae Young is out, yeah, absolutely. You're playing Murray if Trae Young is out. If you're not playing Murray, you're playing Bogdanovich. There's no way you're skipping all those guys. But as of right now, I've got Trae Young as projected to play. It's just we're not going to know about that until late. So you better have pivots and stuff ready, because I may not even make it to that information. I've got guys in games before that. I don't have a whole bunch of guys in the Atlanta-Portland game. And I think that you could easily stack that game, but I just don't individual plays. I only have Capella right now as an individual play from that game that I'm really all that interested in. You also have some, it is one that may be worth looking at stacking a little bit, because it's an island game where you have Hart, Nurkic, and Trae Young all questionable. If all three of those guys are out, it's a game you're certainly going to want to get a ton of exposure to. But as of right now, I'm expecting most of those guys to play, even though it wouldn't shock me either way with the NBA these days. So that's sort of my rundown, guys. Let me know what you're doing. Let me know what you want to, what your outlook on the slate is. Let me know if you have any other questions. I'm happy to answer them. But I do think that, my core still is standing where it was. It's no different than where it was a little earlier. And other than that, I'd love to fire in some questions and answer some and talk to you guys if you have anything out there. Westbrook's in what's he in 80% of my lineups right now. So yeah, I'm playing Westbrook. I understand the pause for concern. If you're not playing Westbrook, I would make sure you're playing Schroeder personally. That's just the way that I would be building, because the Lakers are going to need some offensive creation. And certainly if you're not playing Westbrook, one of Schroeder, Hachimura, even Thomas Bryant, I think you need to try to get somebody who's going to have a chance at scoring some baskets for the Lakers. Maybe Lonnie Walker as a large field play. I'm still waiting for the starting lineup, so we'll see what happens if anything's different with that. The only lineup that we have right now is the Magic, and it is exactly as we would expect it to be. But basically, my really thing is I'm kind of going to fade this first game and hope that Philly kind of blows them out, because it is a great matchup for Embiid and Harden. You do get the discount with Embiid. You can play him at a much cheaper price than Luka, and I think that's totally. This guy just put up 87 fantasy points the other day. He obviously has the most ridiculous ceiling, and it is a great matchup for him for what it's worth. Just didn't find my builds taking me there. It something about it feels wrong to me that I'm playing Kyrie and not playing Embiid at such a similar price. But I just can't. Look, the matchup is the nuts for Kyrie. He's been unbelievable. He really has gotten there basically every game, even games where he didn't shoot the ball that much. The assist numbers are great. The usage numbers are great. Against this Laker team, this could be a 70-plus night. The thing is, the Embiid every night is a 70-plus potential night. So it just feels kind of weird to me a little bit that I'm doing that. Fox or Van Vliet, neither. For me, I'm not playing either of them. But it would depend on your builds, I guess. I could see myself talking myself into some De'Aaron Fox on if I was stacking the Minnesota side, which I think is totally viable. But I'm just not getting to either of those guys. I don't find those builds. I'd play Chris Paul ahead of both those guys. if I had to pick, you know, if you said you had to pick one or the other, I guess it'd be Van Vliet, but I'd be more likely to play Fox because I'd be more likely to stack the Sacramento-Minnesota game. But I'm not particularly interested in any of those plays. They're always can get there, but not my favorite ones. Please hit the like button, as Rody just mentioned. We appreciate it. Any interest in Toronto? Mild at most. I mean, like I said, like Van Vliet, Precious is I think a very solid play. Assuming that he starts. Van Vliet, Scotty Barnes, and Siakam and Trent are all fine. I'm just not playing any of them. It's not a great matchup. It's the same pricing as always. You do have no OG, but we've had no OG for so much of the season. The play I do kind of like in that game is I like the Chris Boucher large field tournament play is probably my favorite one from that game. Other than Precious, who's I think going to be pretty popular, but he's been really good lately. And I think the natural build is sort of leading me to a Precious center along with Brian playing both of those guys, and you still have plenty of money you can spend elsewhere. So not a bunch of interest in Toronto for me in a bad matchup. Fire on in any more questions, guys. Happy to talk through anything else. I went through all my top plays. I went through my favorite values so far. We talked about some possibilities if certain guys are out. We still don't even know for sure about Embiid. Obviously, that'll change the slate if that happens. No, I'm not worried they cap Luka's minutes if he plays. They'll either play him or don't. I mean, if you look at Luka, I don't think outside of a blowout that Luka ever is not going to get the minutes. They're not going to like ramp him up. He sprained he hurt his ankle. He's either not going to play or he's going to play. He doesn't play low minute games. I mean, listen to these minutes for Luka. 37, 38, 37, 39, 35, 52. 52. That's crazy. 42, 39, 31, that was a blowout. 41, 37, 34, that was a blowout. 47, 39. So there's just no reason. There's no way I'm ever going to assume Luka's going to be limited. It's just if he's playing, he's in, he's good. If he's not, he's not. Dinwiddie is totally fine, but again, we don't know about Luka. So if Dinwiddie becomes like an awesome play, Dinwiddie's fine if you're not playing Luka. You're not playing Dinwiddie and if Luka's playing. That would be a terrible play. Don't get lost in but he put up 50-something fantasy points. Luka didn't play. Don't forget that. And it's a totally different game when Luka doesn't play. So Dinwiddie's price is definitely not playable if Luka plays. Now, if Luka doesn't play, I would be fine taking shots there, but it would be a shot. Would you have Brian and Claxton in the same lineup? It's fine too. Yeah, I have no problem with it. What else do we have here? Pop on in, guys. Drop in any more thoughts. We can go rapid fire and answer a million questions because there's not a whole lot else I have to cover on. I went through every player above 10% owned. I went through every play that I have in my lineups. Is there anybody I may have left off? Let's take a look. As of right now, no. There's nobody I left off. I have one Josh Richardson lineup, I guess. That's, not that I'm not in love with. Just probably going to change it. But that's the only thing that I haven't mentioned. But yeah, no problem with Brian and Claxton in the same lineup at all. I'm a little worried that Brian's being a little bit over projected. It was interesting today because early today, he was being so under projected. And now it feels a little bit like he looks like the too obvious of a play. I think that, if you're not stacking the Laker game, the right move maybe to get off of that chalk. But I am stacking the Laker game, so I am going to play it. Barnes, fine. I'm not playing him. He's totally fine, though. I'm guessing you mean which Barnes? There's like 19 Barnes. You got to specify that one. And I'm guessing you mean actually I don't even know who you mean. Do you mean Scotty Barnes? You mean Harrison Barnes? I don't know. I honestly don't know who that is. Center for FanDuel. I'm not playing on FanDuel because I haven't really enjoyed playing over there very much lately. Center on FanDuel. I will answer that question. Let me just grab my FanDuel notes because I do have my notes even though I'm not playing over there. Center on FanDuel. I think Claxton makes more sense over there. Bryant still makes sense. Embiid at low ownership is probably a really good play on both sides. But on FanDuel, I think it's pretty easy to get him in. So I would say Claxton and Bryant are probably my two favorites, followed by Embiid and Ayton. And then all the other guys you can use as forwards. So those would be my FanDuel ones. If there's any other FanDuel specific questions, ask them. I'm happy to answer them. Best forward under 6.5. I like Jeremy Grant at 6.3. on DK. So I just the minutes feel very secure. It's a plus matchup. He's really good at home. 6,300 is the right price. It's a good price for him. So Jeremy Grant would be my answer for that one. Under 6,500. I'm guessing you mean around 6,500 because I mean, like I could name guys who are like 4,100, like Hachimura, but I don't think that's going to help you any. Favorite late game plays: Atlanta and Portland. Yeah, Simons. It's hard to know without knowing for sure whether Trey's playing and whether Hart and Nurkic are playing, but I'm assuming they are right now. Simons and Grant are the two that stand out to me for the Portland side, regardless. And on Atlanta's side, I think I like Capella personally as a little bit of a sneaky play. And obviously, if Trae Young is out, DeJounte and or Bogdanovich and or Collins are all good plays. But as of right now, not really getting too much on Atlanta's side outside of a little Capella. Yeah, if Eubanks, if Nurkic is out, the only thing you got to remember though, Joe, that I'm trying to figure out is how are you building your lineup, because you're going to have to make it. You're going to have like, so are you stacking up the Portland Atlanta game and assuming these guys are out? Because you're not going to have this information. You might not have this information until that game starts. So you have to entirely backstack your whole lineup if you do want to talk about plays like Eubanks and whatnot. As of right now, I've got Nurkic projected in. If we get any updated news, I would switch over. Yeah, you switch over to Eubanks, but like, we don't even know that we're just speculating. And you'd have to get a bunch of guys from that game, so you'd be able to make some switches. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation. And I think it's a viable route. I think it's viable to take like 5 guys from that game and then just hope that either they hit, and you have good plays. Like you play Trae Young and then run it back with Simons and Jeremy Grant and maybe throw Capella in there, and then you could switch over, spend down. I mean, there's ways you could fiddle around with it if you got that news, but I'm afraid we might not know that. Let's see, favorite Lakers value. Hachimura. I hate to say Thomas. I actually think for me, it's Hachimura then Schroeder. Well, Hachimura, Schroeder, and Westbrook are my 3 favorite plays from the Lakers. Bryant is my next guy in. Beverly would be my next one, depending on how the starting goes. Lillard's fine. I'm not going to pay 10-7 for Lillard when I can pay 10-8 for Kyrie. Unless, if we knew Nurkic and Hart were out, maybe I would consider it. But I'm not interested in Lillard particularly. It's fine. It's not like I don't think there's nothing about that play that like stands out to me. It's an incredibly expensive price, and I know Lillard's been really good, but so is Kyrie, and Kyrie is missing everybody else who creates offense for his team. Lillard has a much wider range of outcomes, and you can't even say he has a higher ceiling than Kyrie. Kyrie just put up 80 the other day, so that's where I'm at. Could Lillard go nuts? Whenever you know Lillard's going to make 22 out of 29 shots, like just let me know, because it's just a total heat check thing. Rui starting. My guess is that he is. I'm guessing that's not a question that you're stating yet. I haven't seen the starting lineup official yet, but I've been sitting here talking to you guys, so I don't have the Lakers starting lineup. I'm going to double check for it right now. Whether Rui starts or not, I still am playing him for what it's worth. Lakers starting lineup. Let's see the latest. And let's see what we've got. So is that a question, Jimmy? Man, Jimmy, is that a question? Like, I don't understand. I never understand when people just say things like that, and then we don't know if it's a question or not. Because I don't have a starting lineup for the Lakers. In fact, they haven't released a starting lineup. So I don't know how you could have that information. So please let me know. Yeah, that's your opinion, Jason. Precious has a much lower ceiling than Bryant, but probably has a safer floor if he's starting. Do we have an official that Rui, like, so where's your guys' Lakers starting lineups? Who's the starting 5 for the Lakers? Because I'm looking right now and the Lakers don't officially have a starting lineup. It's confirmed by who? I think there was a word. Look, I'm assuming Rui starts anyway, but this is not the point. We don't have the Lakers starting lineup. The Lakers have not released a starting lineup, so all of this is just conjecture. Underdog tweeted it out that they expect Rui to start for him. I read that they expect him to. Yeah, and I think he's probably going to start. I don't think it matters. I think we're having this conversation pretty meaninglessly. I'm playing Rui no matter what, so it didn't matter to me whether he was starting or not. But yeah, I would not look. I mean, you know what's crazy is the Lakers. 4 out of their 5 guys in the court are basically going to be the Washington Wizards from 2 years ago. It's going to be Troy Brown, Russell Westbrook, Rui, and Thomas Bryant, which is literally, you know, throw Bradley Beal in, and then you've got the Lakers, the Wizards from 2 years ago. No problem, Jimmy. You didn't do anything wrong. I just don't like it when we say it that it looks like Rui's like I think we have to phrase things differently, because I then end up reacting and going, oh, why don't I have a Lakers starting lineup? And then I look on Twitter, and sure enough, they don't have a Lakers starting lineup either. But you didn't do anything wrong. I just think we need to change the way we phrase it, because it can be a little misleading sometimes. Anyway, let's see what else there is here. Thoughts on Draymond? I think he actually stands out as being a pretty decent play, and that's a pretty good game environment for Draymond. I didn't end up getting to him. I like Jeremy Grant a little bit better. He just he just produces a little bit of higher level. That's pretty much the only way I can put it. I think there's nothing wrong with playing Draymond here. I do like him in this type of matchup, but we just know, like, Draymond, you know, you're going to get a wide range of outcomes with him in general. Like, you're going to see the games where he puts up 20 fantasy points. You're going to see the game where he puts up 45. He's not the Draymond of old where we get like 70 sometimes. You know what I mean? That we used to get. That used to be fun. I'm playing Schroeder for what it's worth. We're not going to get it. We're not going to have the Luka news. It's going to be way late. Period. I don't think you're going to have Luka news until that game starts. SGA Draymond mini. I kind of like that, Brendan. I can get on board with that. Like, I'm not doing it, but I totally support that SGA Draymond or SGA Clay. I actually like Clay in this matchup too. They're really bad against guarding the 3, OKC. Somehow they're really bad against guarding the 3, really bad down low, and they still win a bunch of home games. No, that's totally wrong, TJ. You're completely wrong about Jeremy Grant. Totally couldn't disagree more. Jeremy Grant is a totally fine play either way. Jeremy Grant is averaging almost 6x for the season. And yeah, some of those games didn't have some of those guys, but no, you don't need those guys to be out at all to play Jeremy Grant. Totally disagree. He's going to play a ton of minutes no matter what. The only way that doesn't happen is some sort of a blowout. And I feel pretty secure about Jeremy Grant. But again, play Draymond. Draymond is probably more the right play. Like, for some people, I don't know. I think I like Grant. I like Grant a little bit better, but I do like Draymond, so I have no problem with it. I like Burks fine. I'm not trying to go out of my way to play him. It's only if I get stuck with him that I'm playing him. But I think Burks is fine. It's just, you're going to have, the Detroit, you just don't know what they're going to do game to game, because they're tanking, but they're trying to get their young guys run. It's kind of confusing why they really play Burks that much, as much as they have, to be honest with you. So I don't really know game to game whether to expect the 15 minutes, 18 minutes or whatever, or the 30 minutes. And even still, he has to be pretty efficient to get there. So I don't think this Alec Burks is like a locked play. Like, just remember, he had 2 good games recently. He shot 9 of 15 from 3-point range in those 2 games. And that's why he had good games. If he didn't do that, he would have had bad games. So I don't think Alec Burks is any sort of a play you should be trying to go out there. Best 4.2K or below guard, Wiggins. He's forward, small forward eligible only. I guess the answer is probably Isaiah Joe, but I would probably not Isaiah Joe or DeLon Wright. I'm not really trying to play 4,200 or lower guards personally. So I didn't get there. I guess Beverly's in the mix too. Yeah, Rui's going to have high ownership. I don't disagree. All right, let's see what else we got. I think I'm going to get out of here, guys, because it seems like everything is drying up. Question. Oh, Sohan, I like. Yes, I like Sohan. Absolutely. No, I'm not like saying must play. Sohan is probably going to be what? Guessing he's 7 or 8% owned. I'll probably have 15%. That's where I'm at on Sohan. Maybe I'll be a little higher on Sohan. I like taking shots on him, and I think it's a fair play. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Who would your pivot off Rui be? I'm not pivoting off Rui, so I'm not. I don't have a pivot off of. There's no direct. Like, I guess playing. I would make sure I'm playing Rui, Schroeder, Westbrook, or Thomas Bryant. At least one of those 4. I guess that's it. I don't have a pivot off them. Let's see. Going to be high ownership. It doesn't seem like there's anything else going on. I think that we're pretty much done until we get anything. Okay, TJ, I don't know if these are compliments or not, so I'm not going to exactly know how to respond to that. Chris Sale's a little bit funny looking. I used to get Kershaw when I had longer hair and my beard gets thicker quite a bit, but I don't usually get Chris Sale. I'm not sure. It feels like an insult, but I'll let it slide. Any other questions, guys? I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'll get out of here. Looks like that's pretty much it. All right. Well, I appreciate all you guys. I'll be in Discord all night. So if there's any questions that pop up, feel free to jump on in and ask. And I'll do my best. Good luck, everybody. Oh, to answer that one question before I get out of here, Super Bowl pick for me. As of right now, I think I slightly lean the Chiefs, but it's really close. I think I'll feel like an idiot because I was the one who said all year when before the season, the Eagles are the most talented team in football. And it would be weird to go against that now, but I do like the Chiefs. I like the idea of having Mahomes in that game. And I think the Eagles are a more talented team. I think Mahomes is just much better than every quarterback in football. And I think it's crazy that people keep trying to compare other people to him. We got the Dinwiddie thing again. Dinwiddie's only in play if Luka's out for me. And then that's it. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you guys hopefully in the